Hello and welcome to episode 14 of Lost in Chronologically Lost, where this time we see just how quickly a writer can be proven wrong.
Yeah, we'll get to exactly what we mean on that. And I just realized something. We don't say that we don't say that you're David and I'm Matthew anymore.
Well,
what
if they're 14 episodes in, they should know.
What if they forget? Some people are terrible with names.
I think they can at least recognize voice 1 and voice 2.
I am voice 2.
Okay.
Well, yeah, so voice
I'd
1, we begin with...
I'd ask you where we begin with this episode, but I want to say, we begin this episode on the most whack Season 3 plot. But this is a Season 3 plot that is whack for all the right reasons, because they made this episode having heard fan complaints. I think I mentioned before that there was sort of a 3-month break in between the first and half sections of Season 3, and they had heard the complaints, and so this was kind of like a whole in-joke with the fans at this point.
Like, here we're good. Like, here's something whack for you. You think what we did before was whack?
Exactly, yeah. And it was like, oh, you think before the plots were superfluous? Well, here's a backstory on Nikki and Paulo. Like,
were they like minor characters on the island?
Yes.
All right.
Well,
Makes
like
sense.
as she says at the end of sort of this scene, we all know what happens to guest stars. Kind of joking about who she is.
Yeah. See, I kind of figured just like because this is chronologically lost, so there's not going to be a backstory for them after this, which means if they get a whack season 3 backstory, they didn't justify a backstory during seasons 1 or 2.
No, this is their only backstory, and it's whack, and I love it. Like, I will say, originally, when this came out, people said it was the worst episode of all time. However...
No, we've seen what that was.
Yes. In retrospect, people have come around on this episode, because I can see how people would hate it when they watch it originally. Yeah. Because you're waiting week to week to find answers, and here you get just a whole thing with the flashback, and the focus is on Nikki and Paulo. Who the hell cares about them? But when you can rewatch
now you're not in a hurry.
it or see it in this format, it's just hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, we open with she's a stripper, and she's doing this whole thing, and I'm like, what is this? Am I supposed to remember this character? Is this someone I've seen before? But then as soon as she starts acting, talking to whatever, I'm like, oh wait, okay, this is something being filmed in the show, because the acting would not be this bad on Lost.
Yeah, Lost has good acting, so it's so funny to see them having a good actress having to act poorly. Even having Billy D. Williams acting poorly.
Yeah, so... And then she's got the director wrapped around her finger, pretty much.
Right. And, of course, her iconic catchphrase of razzle dazzle. Just fucking amazing.
Oh, that's a catchphrase here?
I guess it was her character's catchphrase on the show.
Alright.
Also, I should mention, I don't know if you remember this, but way back in the plot line where Locke gets pushed out the window, he is sitting depressed in his apartment watching what sounds like a terrible television show.
Oh my god.
This is that show! And to prove just how...
Yeah, I mean, I could tell it was like a soap opera,
Right, and to prove just how much fans kind of hated this episode at the time, just due to how the show was airing, you wait a week, you get Nikki and Paulo. Then you wait another week, and you know what follows immediately? This one is the one where Locke gets pushed out a window. It's the levels of importance are so different.
Yeah. Goddamn. Well, after that, we get some Claire stuff. She's talking to her mom in the coma and is all like, oh, I'm pregnant, giving it away, I'm sorry for everything, blaming herself. Yeah, I don't know, it was fine.
Well, yeah, because apparently with the whole car accident thing, apparently she was saying some really horrible things to her before they crashed.
Yeah, and it was kind of drawing a parallel, oh, you raised me as a single mom, and now I can't do that shit. And it was effective, but I don't have much to say about it.
Yeah, it's a good scene, but there's nothing to say about it. So then we get Hurley, who his father admits that he came because of the money.
No shit. A father who left when he was going to go gambling.
Yeah, Hurley always knew it.
It's not like he left to get smokes, and then that was just an excuse. No, he left to gamble, which is it seems like he just I don't think him gambling was a lie. Just someone who would go off on a trip to gamble when you had promised you'd go on a trip with your kid is someone who would abandon his family.
Right, but then he honestly kind of just talks to Hurley and says, going to Australia isn't going to fix your problems. It's not going to fix this.
Yeah.
And he says, you should just give away the money then. Don't make it about all this. And
he
says,
that seems like something Hurley would Hurley was saying he would do that earlier, out of anger, but if he wouldn't end up on the island, I totally could have seen Hurley just deciding to give it all away and being happier.
Right, and, his dad even says a thing of, just save enough that we can work on the car finally and do all that, which is I can see why Hurley ends up giving this guy a second chance.
Yeah. Hurley says, I'll send you a postcard from Sydney, and that is, surprisingly meaningful because it's he's not done with his dad. He's sending him something. He's still gonna go, but, that's a connection right there, the postcard. That's a nicer gesture than his dad maybe deserves.
Yeah, that's very true.
I'll be completely honest. If I was a deadbeat dad and I heard my kid won the fucking lottery, I'd give it a shot.
Yeah, you have to weasel your way in. Which, yeah. Anyways, then we get Walt finally. We get actual Walt with his actual actor.
And we get. When I first see Michael's ex Susan, my notes I say, "Wow, Michael's ex, fuck you," feels a little inappropriate given what
that she dies 2 minutes later.
Yeah, but yeah, his son's cool, and so they're in Australia now, which is I don't think that was set up before in Michael's plotline, but it's sure they move to Italy, then they move to Australia. Sure.
Well, yeah, Copenhagen to Italy to Australia. So
yeah,
it makes sense if they're just traveling the world practicing law.
It's entirely reasonable. It makes more sense than Kate deciding to go to Australia, which isn't a big problem either. But it's you can see it here.
Yeah, and also Walt, after getting annoyed that they won't look at this bird that he thinks is cool, then suddenly that same bird flies and dies and crashes into the window.
Okay, I just connected something here.
What? Oh, what?
Okay, I was already thinking Walt seems like he's gonna matter, and and then I was wait, Walt would be on the plane, and then I remembered you mentioned a while back something about a child actor who was difficult to work with during season 1.
It's not that he was difficult to work with. It's just
he was a child actor.
Yeah, he was a child actor who outgrew stuff.
Oh yeah. So, well, now I suddenly just realized. I had reason to realize it before, but it only just clicked for me. He's gonna be on the cast.
Yeah.
This is not Michael's backstory character. He's part of it.
Yeah. We see here that he gets the plane ticket to fly back home with Michael. So.
Yeah. It makes sense. I was being a little. I should have realized it earlier than right now.
Right. Now, here's something you never could have realized, is that I'd said earlier that the most interesting reason someone goes to Australia is Ana Lucia. Did you ever see her going to Australia as a companion to Christian?
Yeah. I told you this earlier, but I had a weird thought. I had a really weird thought when we saw Susan and Walt and... What was the guy's name?
Brian.
Brian. He's not the only Brian here.
No, he is not.
Well, I had this weird thought when I saw Brian, where I was wouldn't it be... It wouldn't make any timeline sense, but I just thought, wouldn't it be funny if Brian... if the guy that Susan was with was actually Jack's dad, too?
Oh my god, yeah.
Just because it would be ridiculous. He gets involved in another family, and another shitty parental figure, and no, that would be ridiculous. And then right after I'm thinking that, the next scene, we suddenly get Christian Shepherd in a plotline he has no business being in.
Yeah, with... I liked the whole Ana Lucia Christian plotline.
Oh yeah, it was good. It was just it was like I got a little be careful what you wish for while I was watching.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was good. I mean, she's working like TSA or something,
Right.
and he talks like he wants a job because he doesn't have a job now.
Yeah, and he complains about where he's at in his life and talks about how his son ratted him out. And Anna says, yeah, parents and kids shouldn't work together after
Ooh, yeah.
all of her stuff.
Honestly, there was like so much Jack's dad stuff that for a moment I was like, he's in Australia. Is he gonna end up on the island? Have I not realized that he's a major character? And no, we see what happens to him.
Well, I mean, who says he won't end up on the island? He just won't be alive, but
Oh, because people see dead people there.
And
Something
obviously
I've known
Jack
since...
is gonna bring back the body, right? So.
Oh yeah. Oh. It's good. So they're gonna have to bury him there or something. Wow.
Right.
Spicy.
So Christian says he's going to Sydney, and he invites Anna to see. He says he's hiring her as his bodyguard, but based on everything else we see, it's more like he's hiring her as his driver.
I think, yeah. I mean, even that she doesn't guard his body so much as she just drags him away from trouble. I mean, I think, if anything, he just sort of wanted a little companionship with someone else who felt lost.
Right. And they also decide to use fake names, and he uses Sarah
Also,
for Anna.
Oh my weirdo! That just stop being a weird ass.
Yeah, I had to think. I was like, is there any? I'm like, because clearly they would pick this for a reason. Like the character would and the writers would, but I can't see why he would pick Sarah for Anna Lucia. There's no, I don't get it.
It feels like it means something to him. It has to. I
can't figure it out. Like. Honestly,
Yeah, well, and at first I was like, why would she agree to this? She just met this guy, but you know what?
She's working TSA.
She also, she's waving the wand.
Right,
But then we get Saeed. He was playing soccer with SM, and they find out that he's supposed to be martyred, and he doesn't think he can do it.
Right, and it's not even that he doesn't think he can do it. It's that he honestly doesn't want to. And Saeed goes to the CIA being like, hey, he doesn't even want to do it. Let's just go get the guys. And they say, no, you have to continue with the plan. Which is a thing that they have done in real life. So,
first, big CIA moment. Big CIA moment. They want they want him to convince SM to do it, and they threaten to arrest Nadia. God damn. Anyway, so this is where I realized that for like reasons you'll laugh at, but where I realized I didn't like this plot line, because last episodes I was like, oh man, this is so interesting, and then this episode I was like, wait, I hate plot lines where somebody is like, oh, are they going to be found out? Are they going to realize what their real motives are? I hate those. They make me get stressed.
Oh, but do you like the first half?
Yeah, but then once we got here, I was like, wait a minute. This is something that makes me uncomfortable because I'm getting worried.
It's like he wants to tell them his real motivations, but is kind of being forced not to.
It just makes me worry. It's tense in a way that discomforts me more than it discomforts me even more than it gets me invested.
Right, but at least we can move on with this plot line with the message that the CIA is trash. So
yeah, oh yeah. There are points in this show where I didn't want to get too political, but the CIA being like that...
It's literally the CIA doing something they've done in real life that is bad. Like, that's not...
Objective truth.
You can't be not political in a plotline like that.
Yes, and this is not a matter of opinion. Like, the CIA is like that.
Yeah.
And then we get Locke. This just seems like the writers were really baiting us,
Oh, yeah, this was Locke's first backstory. So...
Oh wow!
Yeah, the reveal at the end was that he's paralyzed. Like it's
okay. Wait, so okay. So I went through a whole thing with this where I thought, oh, he's paralyzed. Then I thought, okay, does he get healed on the island?
Other parts, so.
Well, wait, do I?
Remember in the time travel portions, he's walking around the island just fine.
No. I mean, I know. That's my thought was, look. There was a point a while ago where I thought, okay, he's going to recover from this happening to him, and then he, maybe do the walkabout, and he's a badass when he gets to the island. Then I realize, no, he learns to walk while on the island, and that's what makes me think, does he get Magic Island healed? But then something else just occurred to me, that there's that Isaac of Uluru guy we see. Maybe that's because if this was the first Locke backstory, then that means when we first see him on the island, he can walk? Which means that he didn't get healed on the island. And so, by process of elimination, maybe that Isaac of Uluru guy is going to heal him.
Well, that dude does have a bunch of wheelchairs and canes
Yeah.
all
Oh, yeah.
around
Which
his
I
place.
liked. And, I mean, we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but I liked that scene, they didn't explain it. They just showed it as like, oh, he keeps the things that people no longer need. That was a nice bit of environmental storytelling.
Right. But anyway, we get Locke, and I'll say this is, you remember last episode they offhandedly mentioned that Hurley now owns a box company? This is that box company.
Oh, okay.
And Randy
And so he's on the phone, and he's... Wait, that's the Randy?
That's Randy.
Oh, I just thought, okay, I don't always remember the faces of minor characters. I was
he
just
looks
thinking,
so
like,
much different between these two.
Yeah, oh yeah. But I was just thinking, oh, another shitty boss named Randy. That's the Randy, huh?
They never say this in the show, but my headcanon for what happened is that even though Hurley hated him, after the whole meteorite incident, Hurley felt bad enough that he's like, I'll give him a job at a different company I have.
Yeah. So, and Randy is like telling him, you gotta do those TPS reports, which is a great reference to the movie Office Space, which is just the movie about showing like the drudgery and boredom and bureaucracy and just the hell that is like low-level office work.
I prefer the television show about the same thing. So
yeah. Well, I think not only were they making that reference with the TPS report, but just that brief scene is like it felt like just the vibe of that scene, how they were filming it, the feeling it had was referencing the movie, which, I mean, nice thing to reference, like you captured the energy. But then we see him playing Risk, and talking about being a leader, which, like, I think that's one of those things that'll tie into like his future plotline of being a leader.
Well, we know he became leader of the others, so
yeah. Although that would be much later than his first flashback, I think.
Well, yes, but it all ties in, like, and Randy kind of berates him about going on a walkabout, saying that he can't do that, and then, Locke says, 1, it's his destiny, and 2, don't tell me what I can't do.
Okay, the thing about Locke, I like his don't tell me what I can't do attitude, and I think he's right about his destiny. I think he's kind of a goofball in being so sure about his destiny when he doesn't have a way of knowing.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's his coping mechanism here.
Right.
Basically.
And see, the thing is, we have that whole thing where Matthew Abaddon, the orderly, told him to go on a walkabout. And so you can glean from that he would get some sort of importance from there.
Yeah. That was what I was expecting.
Right. And they also mentioned that, he's going to tell Helen about it. And it's like, oh, did Helen come back? Nope.
A big bait.
Yeah, big F for that.
Well, so this was his first plot line, so when you see this in the show normally, you don't know, like, the real Helen, right?
And then it becomes, retroactively, it becomes clear that he has called this girl Helen because of everything.
Yeah. But so I only got the whole, is he with Helen again because it's chronologically lost.
Yeah. Then we
Interesting.
get flash to Michael, who is being met by Brian, who informs him that Susan has died.
Holy shit, like, no revenge. Well, okay, it's not a revenge situation, but you want satisfaction, you want resolution, and none of that. No.
Yeah, but
which is realistic.
Comes to give Michael custody.
Yeah, and it's so painful because, I mean, you want Michael to be like, yes, finally I can be with my son, and instead he's like, it's been 9 years since I've seen him. What am I supposed to do here? And Michael, like, I can't say he's wrong for that because it's like, why isn't Brian stepping up? And like, Michael should be in his life again, but it's like, you can't just throw him to Michael and expect that to be easy.
Yeah, especially with, the dude Brian basically just completely abandoning Walt at this point.
Yeah.
And it also retroactively makes Susan even kind of slimier because she said in the flashbacks that, Brian really wants to adopt Walt, so you need to do all this. But turns out, no, he didn't. It was all Susan.
Yeah, god damn it, Susan.
Fucking Susan.
You know, I really hope, okay, this comes up later when we see, Michael and Walt talk, but I want to see Michael, get to the point where his son will actually love him as a father and, earn his love and, make up for it all. And they're going to end up on the island. Are they going to be able to get it on there? I hope.
Right. And also, something that Brian says is that Walt is different and that he makes things happen. Kind of like with the bird. And this is the thing.
Yeah,
I'm
so
going to tell you, do not expect answers about this at all, okay?
Okay.
Just don't. There's no answers about this.
Yeah. All right, I can accept that.
The real answer is that they ran out of time to use the actor to finish his plotline.
So after that, we get Locke talking to Helen on the phone, where there's just a moment where it's like, he's a customer. This is like a phone sex line that he uses to fill the void in his life, and it's just like, yeah, Locke, you're so optimistic about your destiny, but you're kind of living a little bit of a pathetic life here, and I really want things to get better for you.
I was so... Way back when we first started talking about backstories, way, way back, and you said, I can't wait to see Locke become a badass. And
he still will. Don't look.
Yeah, but I knew in my head that his entire backstory is just him getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And I was just laughing on the inside.
Honestly, I'm not going to say this is worse than when he worked in, a toy store or something. He has more confidence, even if he's kind of lying to himself. I feel like I don't know. It's not all bad. I mean, overall, I'm in this for the long game. I know I say I want Locke to become a badass before the island, but it's okay if it happens on the island, He's gonna earn that shit, and I'm here for it.
Right, so then we get, picking up on Sawyer's backstory. He's now in Australia, and he gets a gun there from some shady dude because it's Australia, and it's hard to get guns.
The guy's like, make sure you can kill, and... we'll talk about it later, but I have some interesting thoughts on, whether or not Sawyer can kill.
Right, well, I mean, spoiler, he ends up killing the guy.
Yeah, but then I think there's some things I want to ask you about that and some things I want to say about that.
And then we get more Saeed, and now Assam is clearly wanting out. He is not ready to go through with the suicide bombing.
God. Saeed is a good boy, but I see why he would just start to think he is a bad person.
Saeed is a very troubled man, but he talks him into it. Yeah, and he implies that Nadia has died in this sort of scenario.
Next we get Ana Lucia wakes up, and then Jack's dad is knocking and is unshaven. And there's a moment where I'm like, what business does Christian have to resolve here? That he would see.
That's funny because you kept saying, Jack is going to go to see Claire. Jack's going to go to see Claire. You didn't think that Christian would go to see Claire?
Yeah, that was a little stank on my part, but the reason I bring it up is, he's just here to see Claire, but my mind was thinking, what unfinished business does he have in Australia that would need a bodyguard? And then I'm like, he wanted to pull the plug on Claire's mom. What if for some reason he wants to finish the job and he needs Ana Lucia's protection so they don't catch him?
They hadn't even thought of that plot line by this point.
Yeah. Okay. But if it was season 3, would they do something like that?
The way they write Christian, I don't think they would.
Alright, but it was just a funny thought.
Right, so...
But so I think is it Claire's aunt that they go to see?
Well, they all live in the same house.
Alright.
Or Claire used to live there until she moved to the apartment.
Yeah. But she's just yelling at her, slamming the door, and she's like, fuck off. It's like, I paid the mortgage on this house, and Ana Lucia drags him away, and it's like, dude.
Yeah, well, clearly he is at least still helping the family if he's paying the mortgage on that house, and clearly for all these years he has still paid for the very nice hospital room that Claire's mother is in.
Yeah, it's kind of like, on one level, I want, what am I saying? On one level, it's like he is coming there drunk, being a piece of shit. Obviously,
like
you gotta
5
say
in the
no,
morning.
not talking. Obviously, that's a problem. On the other hand, I'm not saying you can buy love or a relationship, but if he's literally paying for the house and the hospital room, I feel like you could at least invite him in and have a conversation.
I think maybe if he showed up at a proper time, not drunk,
Yeah.
calmly trying to talk to them, maybe he could do something. But you don't show up at 5 a.m. clearly drunk trying to barge in. That's not how you do this. Yeah. And because of that, Anna drags him away from barging into the house.
So, after that, we get Jack, and is this like Jack's mom?
Yes.
We have not really seen her.
No, we have not. His dad has been way more important.
And, yeah, we just find out, they haven't talked, and it's like, you need to help him. And sometimes she says things that's like she's blaming Jack.
Oh, she guilts him into going to Australia.
Which is like, it's just like, come on. Okay, I'm not going to say everything Jack did he was right to do, because there was the time where he tackled him at the AA meeting. But in terms of revealing the truth about him being drunk, Jack was right to do that.
Right, but he still ends up going to go get his dad back from Australia.
Yeah, which, I also think, like, even if your dad's a piece of shit and you think he doesn't love you, I feel like it's still, like, a decent thing to do to go and try and get him from Australia. Like,
right.
I don't think Jack has a reason not to do that. Still family.
Yeah, and now we're going back to the Sawyer storyline, and I want to say, for this whole scene, they filmed this scene on a bright, beautiful Oahu day. But they needed it to be tense, so they put a super, super thick blue filter over all the shots, and it looks terrible.
So gray, so...
It's bad.
dry
It just looks
and,
bad. Just have it be bright. It's supposed to be Australia anyways. Who cares?
Yeah, like, Australia's gonna be, like, sun-bleached and stuff.
Yeah, I don't, like... it just bothers me the way they lit this scene.
He walks up to the shrimp truck, and I'm just like, Australia, put another prawn on the Barbie.
Jeez.
I'm not gonna do an accent because I don't want to make a fool of. I don't want to make a fool of myself.
Right, as if saying that doesn't make you enough of a fool. And so it's a super long scene, and you'll notice this, or maybe you didn't notice this, but I noticed it a lot. Is that when we are watching, like, season 1 flashbacks, it's so much easier to tell that they're season 1 flashbacks just from the way they're shot and paced, where they're a lot slower, there's a lot longer shots, there's a lot more waiting and silence. Because as it got on in the show, what people liked were these big moments, these reveals, these mysteries, and so as they would write that, they wrote more and more of that, to where every scene has, like, something pop at you, right? Whether it's a mystery, whether it's something action. But the beginning didn't have that, because they were creating the show, right?
And so he takes out the gun, and it's just... I have a few things to say here. First is that, like, first I just have to ask, if this guy was actually the guy, do you think Sawyer should kill him?
That's a hard question for me to answer.
Yeah, because the revenge is very clearly there.
If, you know what, I will say...
on the other hand, this guy's...
You know what, let me rephrase that. I will say, if this guy was the guy, I would say it is morally gray to kill him.
Yeah. Because the revenge is there, but he's also, like, not causing harm. Although you could say the reason he's not causing harm is because this isn't actually the guy.
Yeah.
Well, see, I had thoughts about this because I'm usually, like, revenge is cool, but in the end, you don't have to kill someone kind of guy. I'm like I would be just as satisfied if you took out the gun, pointed at them, said, like, I'm here because of this, you did this to me, yeah, I'm here for revenge, made them face that, make them struggle with that, and then just make them understand what you could do and what they deserve, but then you don't actually kill them. I think in the end, I'm more satisfied by the realization than by the actual killing, and because of that, I'm also just like, killing's wrong. I don't think you need to kill. I think you as a character would be happier if you didn't kill. But this is Sawyer. And the thing is, maybe in season 1 or something, Sawyer, he's a protagonist, and you don't like writing protagonists who kill, so maybe, you gotta make him a good guy and not kill someone. But I have seen Sawyer do enough stuff where I'm like, for the good guy protagonist, I have Jack. I have other characters. Sawyer, I'm okay with it if you feel the role of the guy who's willing to kill.
Right, yeah. I mean, hey, even the character they wrote as a Korean mafia guy, even he doesn't kill, so...
He's a good boy. These are great episodes, but they were missing Jin, so that's the issue.
The only one they had kill was the LAPD woman, which, that tracks.
Yeah. Yeah, well... Anyway, so yeah. I mean, they made me think Sawyer wasn't going to do it, because he didn't do it at first. I was thinking, oh yeah, he's a protagonist, you don't want to
he does hesitate.
do that to the audience, but then he actually is the kind of guy.
Then we go back to Anna and Christian, and she asks him, who he went to see, what are you really doing in Australia? And, Christian, he tells Anna that he came because he has all these problems with Jack that are his fault, that he admits fault and blame for, but that he just can't fix them.
He's like, I can't apologize to my son. And I think to some level it's like, he can't apologize to his son, and he kind of thinks like, maybe if I apologize to my daughter, that'll make me feel better.
Yeah, going to his daughter, who he feels like maybe he can actually repair that relationship with.
Yeah.
Well,
I think he wants a sense of repentance. He wants a feeling of like forgiveness and confession, because I think that this idea with him is very Christian,
Right, but then he says, "Oh look, fate is at it again because we've stopped in front of a bar," and he opens the door into Sawyer. Like
that. Oh yeah. See, honestly, this made me think, oh, it's just going to be a cameo, but they're not going to interact. I don't get my crossover episode yet. And then, no, we end up getting the crossover episode moment.
Yeah, the thing is, originally you see the whole thing with Christian and Sawyer first, and then you get the thing with Anna. But it doesn't matter. It's better. I think it's better to see it.
Because Anna...
You see him, like, half open up to Anna, and then he fully opens up to Sawyer once he's there.
And, because, like, Sawyer's in a darker place.
Right, yeah.
And Anna Lucia is, like, a later season's character, right? So, like...
Yeah.
Obviously, this isn't an early season's flashback. Well, I'm just thinking, like, he's saying, like, come with me, let's do it. And the thing is, they're still in similarly dark places. They lost their jobs, they're in rough spots. But he's an alcoholic, and she's not. So that's why he's like, oh, fate wants me to drink. And she's like, no.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that's good advice. She says, hey, let's just leave. Like, but no, he doesn't. He heads right into that bar. And when we get Sawyer and Christian drinking, and, Christian says that they're basically in hell, because that's what Australia is.
Because this is,
and
again...
I just want to say something.
Very Christian.
People would use scenes like this to be like, look, the thing lost, they're dead all along, they all died in the plane crash. No, they didn't. They survived the plane crash. Like...
Come on. That's the J.J. Abrams answer to the mystery.
Yeah, it's so stupid, too, because so many people were saying that, oh, they're all dead all along, they're dead all along, and that the writers came out. Like, they would never really talk about fan theories until except for this one, they came out and said, it's not this. They're not dead.
Yes.
Like,
because I know this is 2004, but everyone, a real writer, they want to get you an answer more interesting than what someone on the fan theories subreddit will come up with.
Right. To be fair, I have seen some answers to things that are more interesting in a fan theory.
Yeah, but it's like,
but for the entire plot of the show, no.
They were dead all along is just, I mean, it's the, like, lame fan theory.
Yeah.
Maybe in part because Lost made it, like, such a popular fan theory.
But the thing is, it's not even true. It's not, like, everything you have seen happen has happened. Like...
Yeah.
I guess unless it was a dream. Have we had any dream scenes yet?
No, but I know we'll get one.
Yeah.
But even the one you've told me we'll get is something that happened.
Yeah, it's like a dream version of what actually happened.
Yeah. Anyway, so of course they mentioned that's why the Red Sox never win the series.
Some people are just meant to suffer.
I'm a casual baseball fan, so it's like, oh, if only you knew.
Yeah, imagine being a writer. You write this episode, I don't know, maybe February, maybe March. Then you film it. Then it's getting prepared to air. And then it airs. And then, like, 2 weeks later, the Red Sox win the series.
They reverse the curse, and it's like, but it works because this takes place before that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
this takes place
if
1
anything,
month before that.
It gives it, if anything, a kind of uplifting irony. Like, things can get better. You're not trapped in hell forever.
Right. Especially because
I
I have
don't
to
know if
imagine,
I don't know
as the writer of this, as it was going through, they get to... I don't know the name of this because I looked this up, but I forget the names of the championships thing you have to win to get to the World Series, right? And they lost 3 in a row. And he's like, oh, okay, it'll be fine. And then they win 4 in a row. Okay, but they won't win the series, right? They haven't won in 80 years. No. I just wrote this whole thing of that's why the Red Sox never win, and then bam, they do.
Yeah. No, let me tell you, that is kind of an iconic thing that, like, it's the playoffs was not just the playoffs, it was versus the Yankees, which is like one of the biggest rivalries in sports. And yeah, they lost 3 and then won 4, which is like
that's insane. The Chad. Honestly, that's the most Chad way to win anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, I was a kid then, and I remember that. That was a big deal.
Right. It should be noted, I have to root against the Red Sox, though. Not because of any real reason, because I don't follow baseball. Simply because there is a guy on Survivor who is literally known as Boston Rob because he always wears his Red Sox cap every game. And he's just so fucking annoying. And they've had him on 6 different seasons, and they even basically just handed him a season to win, which was so annoying, and I hate him. So I have to root against it for that reason.
It's a traumatizing experience, I'm sure.
Watching season 21 of Survivor is a traumatizing experience, I'll tell you that. Or 22, I think, maybe. Redemple Temple, people will know.
Anyway, you know what hit me? Christian saying he has a son who does what's in his heart, a good man. He's like, my son thinks I hate him, I feel betrayed, but I am gracious and proud. And it's like, that is honestly like a nuance I love to Christian. And like, it's just like, if you made one phone call and said you loved your son, that would mean like so much.
Yeah, like he says one phone call and I could fix everything, but I won't.
That's sad.
Yeah,
But it's sad but believable.
I love the writing on the show. Like, say whatever you will about the world building and the mysteries, the character building is so good. It helps that they got really good actors.
No, like, it's just a well-made drama. Like, don't even have to worry about the island. It's a drama.
Yeah, and he asks Sawyer if what Sawyer's business is will ease his suffering, and Sawyer says that it will. So basically, Christian kind of talked Sawyer into murdering.
Yeah,
who ended up being an innocent man.
Kind of did. Also, I want to mention, like, are Sawyer and Jack gonna find out that like they talked?
Are they?
Because that's something I'd love to see. Whenever there's like a connection like that, I just want the characters to know about it. I read this fantasy book a couple months ago where there was this thing where like a character was someone's sister all along, and then she ended up like killing herself before people, and then it's like we don't know who that person was, and they don't realize it was his sister all along, and it was doing it to be like artful, but I was so unsatisfied. I wanted them to find out, and just even this, like, I want Jack and Sawyer to have a conversation about how this happened.
Jack has a lot to learn about because he has to learn about what happened from Christian. About Christian, both from Anna and from Sawyer, and all about Claire. Like, he's got a lot to learn.
Yeah, and I think Claire is obviously a big one, and I feel like they can just bond by being like, yeah, that guy was a piece of shit. But Sawyer is the big one because Sawyer can tell Jack that his father actually loved him.
Yeah, it is tragic that you learn all this, but that he dies before he can even talk to Jack again.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Sawyer can be a dick, so I'm not sure if he's going to tell Jack that.
Right, but anyway, Sawyer, he goes back to Frank, who is not Frank Sawyer, it's just Frank, and shoots him. And starts reading out the letter, and that wasn't the original Sawyer.
Yeah, it's like Hibbs just wanted this guy to be killed because he wouldn't pay him back. Honestly, I said earlier, I like it when you pull out the gun, you're like, I'm here, like, my name is Inigo Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die. You gotta give the speech before you kill them. Part of the reason you give the speech is just in case there's a mix-up.
Yeah, but I think it was that when he waited talking to him before, that's what made him hesitate.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, see, that's fair. Like, that's true. He didn't want to make himself stop. He was riding that mood.
yeah, so then we get Boone, who is being called by Shannon in Sydney.
Yeah, okay. Let me just say, I've been to tennis clubs. I've played tennis. I've been to places where you play tennis. This is not just any place where you go to play tennis. This is a rich people country club.
Yeah, I've also been to tennis clubs, and that is a tennis club that you look at on Google Maps because you the neighborhood it's in is too rich for you. Like
that is a kind where you only are allowed. I'm not sure if they were, but I know in real life, like they're places where like you're only allowed to wear all white. Going there, and then if you look around, the people are almost all white, and you need like letters of recommendation from members to join.
yeah, it's anyway. So Boone gets called by Shannon, who is in Sydney. So that's how those two end up there.
Yeah, which I mean, we'll talk about the Shannon plotline, but it really feels like there's a whole Shannon story that I missed. Like, it's like, wow, a lot changed, a lot happened.
A lot did happen. Anyway, then we get Jack, who finds his father's hotel room that is just filled with booze and pills.
Yeah.
There's this whole thing where he left his wallet and he doesn't have he was not able to rent a car for anything, but that's already been solved because we know Anna drove him around.
Yeah. Which was that like a mystery for a while? Like not like a real show mystery, but like when they eventually did the Ana Lucia flashback, they were like, "Oh, we can answer this."
Yeah, it's not a real mystery as to it's like he found a way to get booze and drank himself to death. That's just because he didn't have a car or his wallet on him. You're not really questioning that. But it's just like, oh, that solves a question I didn't have. But it's
a connection, not an answer, but a connection. So we see Echo being a priest, and is this in Australia?
Yes.
See, I mean I'm not the best with like actually identifying accents, so I was thinking it was his being in London thing, and there's a little part of me that was like, is Charlie the one talking to him?
That would be funny. But no, it's some guy who forged papers for Echo.
Yeah, because he wants to leave for America, and it's kind of Echo. It's interesting to me that like he looks really bored while he's in the confession booth.
He does not care about this at all.
But at the same time, he knows the lines he's supposed to say, which is like, yeah, I'm glad you put in the effort to like, act like a priest.
Right. So the guy basically says, hey, why don't we go to LA and we'll do some more illegal stuff. And he's about to leave, but then he has to investigate this miracle where...
Yeah, this plotline feels like it tells me more about other things than it does about Echo. I'm not sure if this is gonna like...
I will tell you, this plotline has not finished.
Oh yeah.
There's more to this.
But I'm wondering where it'll go that'll like say something about Echo.
It'll be very interesting where it goes. The story of this miracle is that a girl drowned and then miraculously revived. Now, we later find out that what at least her father thinks happened is that she fell into the river, developed hypothermia, the coroner made a mistake and didn't check for it, cut into her, which woke her up.
Yeah, which... There is a part where, we see her staring through the window at Echo later. I'm like, is there more to this story than her father is saying? Maybe.
Well, we'll have to see. And he
even
tells the sort of senior minister, or I don't know, is that what you call them in Catholicism? I don't know religion.
I don't know.
He's like, oh, well, why would I investigate this? I already don't believe her. And he's like, that's why you have to investigate it,
Yeah. Which, I like that, this is not like some ridiculous high bar, it's reasonable, but I like that it's not like they're portraying religious people as like, oh, they're going to believe in miracles. It's like, no, the religious people are also going to take it seriously and try to disprove it.
Well, yeah, this is like, how,
they,
especially, I've heard when they are considering sainthood for a person, that's where the term devil's advocate came from. There had to be someone who took the side of the devil and saying, nope, this was not the work of miracles or anything. It's more of a formality. By the time they're deciding to do that, they're pretty much making someone a saint.
So
then we get Rose and Bernard, who are in Australia for their honeymoon, to explain that one.
Yeah, they're driving around in the outback, and it's all according to plan, but a part of me thinks, like, you could die getting lost out in the outback.
Oh, absolutely. It's a very dangerous
like,
place.
You know, like the Death Valley Germans?
I don't.
It's like a family of Germans that just disappeared in Death Valley and didn't have enough water and died, and like their car was found.
Oh, well, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, yeah, that's a thing that happens, and the outback is also that kind of place.
But Bernard knew exactly where they were going, so...
Yeah. Which, you know, they're at, like, Uluru itself, which is, like...
They're not at Uluru itself.
I wonder
if... I guess near Uluru.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's big and flat, so it looks like it's close, even if it's not.
Yeah, and it's green screened in, so...
Yeah. But a faith healer.
Yes, and...
Bernard is like, this guy's the real deal, and I'm like, you sure about
Here's
that?
Here's the thing, though. Apparently he is the real deal. Like...
Yeah, I mean, I kind of predicted by process of elimination that he'll heal Locke, so... And also, there's the whole thing about this, like, this is a place of energy, and then it's like, oh, you need a place of different energy for Rose. And I'm like, okay, the island is a different place of energy.
So the thing is
therefore,
that
this is like the island.
The island has the biggest source of energy anywhere in the world. But there are other places in the world where that energy also kind of just leaks out, the magical electromagnetism.
Yeah, which is... Uluru, in the game Civilization 5, Uluru is a natural wonder which gives you +2 food as a tile and +6 faith. There's a lot of faith there.
Yeah, there is. And Rose goes to meet this dude, and...
Yeah, she doesn't believe.
Yeah, and he says, I can't help you, because it's... I guess curing cancer is just not what this magnetism can do.
Your chakras are misaligned with this place.
Right. But she says, nope, I'm going to say that it worked, and that you fixed me.
Also, this guy looks slightly like Patrick Stewart.
I did not see that at all, but okay, I'll take your word on it. Yeah, but basically she wants to just live the rest of her life in peace with Bernard. She doesn't want to deal with all these
which
things.
I think it's kind of a hurtful lie, because Bernard is going to believe, and then he's going to face you dying. But, I don't know. It's not really an easy story to having cancer.
Unless you can somehow end up on some magical island where maybe you can get cured or something. I mean, well, what are the chances of that?
Island Jesus. Yeah.
Right. Then we move on to this next episode, which covers just a 3-day period.
So Boone is here to look for Shannon, and she was, like, freaking out on the phone, but now it's like she's looking normal, but she's kind of subtly shows him a bruise. She got me, too, with this. I was totally baited.
Yeah. Then we get Echo, who's interviewing the coroner, and we just hear the whole tape and everything. It's not that interesting.
Which is, yeah.
Then we get Hurley, who is going to visit Sam Toomey's widow, because Sam Toomey is dead.
Yikes. And so she kind of explains the story, and they were listening to long-wave transmissions out of the Pacific, which makes me think, could this have been coming from the island?
Yes.
Or like,
you actually heard this in the sort of time flashes with Jin and the French team. When they turned on their radios, all it picked up was the numbers.
Okay, I heard it, but that wasn't the source, right?
No, that's where the numbers came from.
Like, who was saying it?
It was just like a radio tower. I think it's just like a Dharma radio tower that was broadcasting them.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. But then he guessed beans in a jar, and then a truck took out his wife's leg, and he believed everything terrible happened because of that.
And he eventually killed himself, and then Hurley says, like, oh, it's the curse and everything. And she says, really, she's like, I wouldn't still have my leg. Floods wouldn't have happened.
You complete numbskull. You absolute bumbling idiot. You believe in that shit, you fool. She is shitting on him.
And she's the one it happened to, and she doesn't believe it, so...
I mean, realistically, the whole, like, life sucks, make your own luck is not a bad mindset, but this is Lost. First of all, this is Lost, so we know there's magic stuff going on. The numbers are important. Second of all, I don't think she can explain how the numbers won him the lottery, and, like, there's clearly something going on.
Random chance. Random chance is the explanation.
Third of all, a fucking meteor hit his restaurant.
That meteor could have hit anywhere.
I think that I can understand it if Hurley doesn't end up deciding I'll just make my own luck, whatever.
Right. Anyways, then we go back to Nikki, and we also get introduced here to Paulo, which I want to say Paolo every time, but
Yeah.
no, it's Paulo.
Huh. Well, it's okay. So it's Paulo, and just seeing like her complimenting Paulo, and then this director is so old, and like she and Paulo are attractive and young. I'm just like, before I realized they were scamming him and or killing him to steal from him, I was just like, oh, she's gonna cheat on the director with Paulo.
Technically, it was more like she was cheating on Paulo with the director, if you see it from that point of view.
He put a necklace in the bread and then gets a random heart attack, which then I realize is
So
poison.
he was poisoned, and they steal from him, and, razzle freaking dazzle.
Yeah, we don't see what they get, but it was in Russian dolls.
Right, yeah, Matryoshka. You'll see what it is soon enough.
Yeah, alright.
It's not exactly that important
line.
what it is. It's just, it's expensive.
Something, yeah, it's, you know what? I'm gonna expect it's one of those, like, eggs that is, like, made of gold and they cover with gems, you know? One of those ridiculous, ugly
Are you
looking
thinking
things.
of a Fabergé egg?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's actually what Fabergé eggs are, but...
Okay, I don't know. You're the one who said the word.
And yeah, well, it's named after a Russian dude. Then we go back to Echo, who it turns out the girl who died and revived was that psychic's daughter.
It is the psychic's daughter, and he's just like, yeah, I'm a fraud. This is fake. My wife is a believer, and she wants to spite me. And he says, like, I gather intelligence on people and exploit it. And this whole time I'm thinking, does this explain everything with Claire?
No, this makes it not make sense.
Because, okay, like, there's cold reading exists, but, like, I'm just like, where some of his guesses, like, knowing she's pregnant or knowing that he left
Also,
her,
later,
I'm like...
First he says, this baby has to be raised by you, which, one, why would he care about this?
Why?
Two,
what is his motive?
He says, oh, my plan is there's a couple in L.A., and they'll be able to raise it right. But it's clearly like he knows that the plane is going to crash, so she'll be forced to raise the baby.
Oh. But, wait, that's the implication.
It was the original implication, but then with this, it's like, what the fuck is he even talking about?
Yeah, so it was just to get her on the plane, huh? Because my thought, experiencing this murder, my thought was like, okay, this is some really convoluted scam where some couple wanted to secretly wanted a child to adopt, and he runs a scam where he gets pregnant people to give up their kids for couples where I don't get it.
It doesn't make sense. This character does not add up.
It's like, what was the motive? Because that's thinking that he was gonna somehow get a cut of the money for her giving up the child to this supposed family was like the only justification I could think of. But even then, it's like, did he plan that from the start? Why was he like why did he think like, why did he call her in the middle of the night over and over telling her she has to raise it herself just for this plan where then he says, actually, no, you can give it to someone else when she isn't even believing him?
And this is not a plan that makes money. He gave back the money both times and then is willing to pay her $12,000. What? This is not a make money plan.
I thought that the couple was paying, but I thought he was taking a cut of it. But, like, why did he originally say, oh, I can't talk to you? Oh, this is too scary. It's blurry. Blurry's bad. We can't do this. I'll give you your money back. I can't tell your future. Like, why would he do that?
It doesn't make sense.
I was expecting you to explain it, not to tell me it's nonsense.
This doesn't add up. It doesn't. Anyway, so Echo says, yeah, he's going to say there's no miracle because...
Yep.
Obviously.
But Echo is being very reasonable here. Echo is doing the very logical, obvious thing that anybody would do.
Yeah, he's having common sense in this situation.
You'll love to see it.
Then Boone is trying to get the cops to help with Shannon's situation. Also, we see Sawyer at the police station.
Yeah, which I don't know what they caught him for. Maybe they caught him for the murder, but it doesn't seem... I feel like... I don't know.
I don't think it was for the murder because obviously they would prosecute him for that.
He was shouting about something, and I think I didn't catch what he was shouting about.
I don't remember what it is, but
It was some
it's
probably
not. It
something
can't be
with
the murder because they wouldn't let him go,
Yeah.
and we know
It's
he's going to
probably
be
just,
on the plane.
fighting, being drunk, fighting in the streets, something
Yeah,
like that.
maybe something like
he's
that.
he's clearly going through some shit. So the police just don't give a shit, which is kind of messed up.
Yeah. So,
And we get Locke talking to the guy, and I'm just like, because the thing is, even the earlier Locke working in the office and stuff, they hid from me that he was in a wheelchair, and I think because I really wanted him to have gotten better and gotten better and like gone on the walkabout, I was thinking, oh yeah, he can walk now, I mean, he went through the stuff, but he was able to regain movement. That's possible. Because I wanted that so bad, I just assumed. I think if I was thinking more reasonably than during the office scenes, I would have thought, like, oh, we're not seeing it. I bet he's still in the wheelchair because they're being careful about what they show.
yeah. So, yeah, he's not allowed to go on the walkabout because he didn't tell them that he was in a wheelchair.
Yeah, and it's like, once we see that, I'm like, I'm sorry, Locke, but I get that you think you're owed this and it's your destiny, but you weren't going to convince them.
Right, and he gives another "Don't tell me what I can't do" to the, excursionist.
And this is where I think, he'll get healed on the island, but then, while we talked about this, I pieced together that probably Isaac of Uluru healed him. Oh, I forgot to mention earlier, Isaac, is the biblical father of Jacob, so...
Oh, yeah.
They're doing something there.
I don't even think they had come up with the idea of Jacob by this point.
Really? Alright, sure.
I think
just gave...
this... Oh, wait. Isaac of Uluru.
Yeah, you're right that they didn't think of Jacob yet.
You know what? They might have. I'm not sure.
I mean, we don't know what... Even if it didn't appear yet, we don't know what they thought of.
Yeah, exactly.
But... Well, I don't think it means anything. I think it's just a little, parallelism, a little consistency. The island has Jacob, and this other magical place has Isaac. Just
yeah. So then we get Jack, who finds Christian dead from drinking
on the street. Messed up. We will never get three-way drama between Jack, Christian, and Claire.
No, we will not, because he has died. Then we get Boone, who is going to go pay off Shannon's abusive boyfriend.
Yeah, this is a thing he's done more than once, and this was what really hit me. Like, wow, it just feels like there's so much story that I missed with Shannon. Like, this is a whole situation.
Right. Yeah.
Also, this Brian guy, he has a tattoo of some Chinese characters, and I just really feel like I'm missing something. Like, unsatisfied, and like I need the story to answer things if we don't get a backstory of how he got that tattoo.
Yeah, I mean, they really need to show a 20-minute story of how he got them.
Yeah, especially if it has these weird exoticism, cultural stereotypes, and
it doesn't fit with the rest of his character at all. I think that would really round it out.
What? Like, I feel like, what are we gonna do without knowing this? Like, this matters. Everybody is wondering about it.
Anyway, now we get another scene from the island of Juliet, who is there with Goodwin, and she's been there for 3 years at this point. And then she gets some pretty bad x-rays back.
Wow, Ben has a tumor on his spine, which I know from the time travel stuff, like they mention, Ben, forced Jack to operate on him. Okay, yeah, this is, literally Jack's operation right here.
I mean,
to the point that
you'd have to think about how fortunate it is that in just a couple days, a spinal surgeon is gonna end up on this island.
Yeah, I feel like if anything, they probably wrote the backstories of Jack helping that old Italian guy with his back tumor, or healing Sarah. They wrote that after maybe thinking of a plot line where Ben forces Jack to operate on his back.
That would be very parallel. So. Yeah. That's interesting. So
Julian is questioning,
before that, he mentions, he's like, oh, I finally finished reading Carrie for their little book club. This is a funny thing. So Lost will show a lot of books throughout their series, and some of them they're philosophical kind of books to make Lost seem deep. I think there was even some book club about reading all the books that show up on Lost, which is that's too lame for me. Like, but they also after season 1, they also started showing a lot of Stephen King books simply because during season 1, Stephen King highly praised the show, so they were throwing it back to him.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stephen King has written some interesting stuff
with terrible endings.
Yeah. I've liked a couple endings from him.
Come at me, Stephen King fans. His endings are trash.
No, come on. No. I think Stephen King fans are going to say that most of all. I don't think anyone denies it.
Right. So Juliet says, "How the hell can you have cancer when you told me you can cure cancer?"
Yeah. And she's like, "I want to talk to my sister. Is she actually cured?" Which is I don't even know. I don't know if I'm supposed to believe him or not here.
Yeah, it's... I mean, are you going to believe him? Like, it's Ben.
I think Jacob could do it, but then Ben is kind of a shit.
Right, and he still won't let Juliet leave.
Like, I trust Jacob to an extent that I know that Jacob's Magic Island Jesus, that's a fact. I don't trust Ben.
Right, yeah. I mean, Jacob could make a man immortal, so...
Yeah. And so, also, so he won't let her leave, and that's what makes me think, like, that seems like how Juliet joins the main cast. She might have been one of the others here, but she, joins the main cast because she wanted to get away from them.
Anyway, then we get Michael, who is showing up at the house in Australia, and the nanny gives him a box, which, I don't know if you could tell what they were, but they were...
they were letters that he sent Walt, I thought.
Yeah, letters that he had sent Walt that clearly Susan had intercepted, but she still kept them. So
Susan is a real Charles Widmore.
Two sides of the same coin, Susan and Charles.
Two of the worst parental figures.
Is she a bad parental figure? I mean... I think she was good to Walt. I think she was just horrible to Michael.
Okay, yeah, fair. Two parental figures who are also kind of jerks.
Yeah. Yeah. And so he goes, and this is just a sort of a heartbreaking scene because he says, "Hi, Walt," and Walt just looks at him and says, "Who are you?" Like, that's got to cut deep.
And he undercuts himself to try and protect Walt. He says, like, "Brian wants to keep you, but I'm your dad, so I get you." And it's like... That hurts, man.
Right, and he says, "Oh, you can also get your dog Vincent, which is the same dog that we saw with Rose and Bernard in the 70s."
Oh,
yeah,
that's nice. Good dog.
Oh, Vincent is.
And he's just
of all the things. This is fine to say because the writer said this. I don't know when they said it. It might have been maybe season 2 or 3. People asked, they're like, "Is anything bad going to happen to Vincent or something?" And they said, "We're never killing Vincent. Vincent will live through the whole series."
What if Vincent's actor died while they were filming?
It's a dog. I'm pretty sure they had like 18 different dog actors for him.
Well, anyway.
Then we get Kate, who was running
also,
away
like,
again.
wait. One last thing. Like, Walt is like, "That's Brian's dog." And Michael is just like, "Brian said I could take him because yeah, I don't care if Brian said that or not. Fuck you, Brian. We're taking the dog. You don't deserve the dog."
No, he does not. Anyway, then we get Kate, who is running away again.
Vincent is not wasting his time on him.
Vincent doesn't waste his time on anyone who's trash.
But yeah, Kate, she's taken her wages. She has trust issues. She wrote a note, and he's like, "Stay one night, and I'll drive you to the train station."
And he even says to her, "Everyone deserves a fresh start," which is ironic considering he has decided to turn her in.
Yeah. See, I have the least impressive skill ever where I predict plot twists like right before they happen where I don't get any credit for calling it. And it's usually more off the vibe of the scene where like this feels the way they're shooting this feels like a scene where this would happen. And so I call it off of that, but that's not that impressive. Because, yeah, they were shooting the scene that way. That was signaling it. I say this because I called, I bet he's turning her in, like, seconds before we found out.
Also, did you note what the reward for her was?
Oh, I did not, but now I do.
It was $23,000.
Yeah. The marshal just pulls up, and he's like he just pulls up next to the car, and he's like smug.
Yeah, I'm not sure what their plan here was. I was very confused by this.
Yeah. Well, I feel like they would have, like, pulled them over.
Yeah. Anyway.
But then there was the thing where they grab the wheel, the car goes spinning, and it's like, holy shit, is he dead? And I'm like, where's the marshal? Because she's not gonna get away. And then yeah, he comes up, has the gun on her, and she doesn't get away. What'd she expect?
Yeah, and it's kind of like, well, she did have to spend a lot of time saving this farmer dude. Maybe if she used those 45 seconds to get a head start.
But he has a car. Like, I feel like if the only way out for Kate, which I don't think she should have done for obvious reasons, but the only way out would be to do something that would kill the marshal.
Yeah. But anyway, she has now been caught. So.
Yeah, so that gives us Kate on the plane.
Then we get Boone, who has come to rescue Shannon, only to find out that she has conned him.
Scam. See, it's like she got me. Yeah, I didn't realize this was the situation, but it's kind of like, it's on one hand it's a con, on the other hand, like, yeah, her inheritance was stolen. I don't know if this is the best way to go about it, but like, it's just sad because like she had prospects and her life could have gone in such a different direction.
Yeah, and it's like in the first flashback we see with them earlier, I feel so bad for Shannon, and then here it's like, oh, she's a bitch. Like, then we get Saeed picking up his storyline again, and it's suicide bomb time.
Yeah, and they give him the stuff, they give Essam the gun, and all I'm saying is everything bad here came from the fact that Saeed told the truth while the gun was in Essam's possession.
Yeah, yeah, he
like,
tries to, at the last moment, he tries to do the right thing and says, I'm working with the CIA, you need to get out of here.
Yeah.
And he says why, which is that he's doing it to find Nadia, which just makes this guy feel so betrayed. You should have
said that, if anything, you should have said, this is going to kill innocent people. Because Essam was worried about that, and he would still feel betrayed, but you could maybe get through with that.
Right, yeah, but
then you should have said, hey, Essam, can I see the gun? I want to see what kind of gun it is. Make sure it's loaded or something. Like, you don't want him to point the gun at you, and you don't want him to shoot himself. It's like, God.
Yeah, but he shoots himself, and then we get Saeed with the CIA people, and they say, hey, Nadia's in LA.
Fuck the CIA.
Yeah.
Fuck the... They don't care that he killed himself. They don't care.
Now they say, hey, she's in LA, so that's why he's going to be on this plane. But he almost wasn't.
Well, not this plane. Or, he is going on the plane?
Yes.
Okay.
Because he was originally going to fly one day earlier, but he decided to stay in order to claim
Oh,
the
yeah,
body.
that's what I thought. Yeah.
So he switched flights.
No, that's what I was... Yeah. I was confused for a second, but that is how I understood it. So Claire is talking to the couple who will adopt, and it's not much. The pens keep not working, and she takes that as a sign not to sign.
Yeah, that's also what I wrote in my notes. And also, it's just important to say that before this, she is talking to them, and she says, oh, make sure you sing Catch a Falling Star to the baby. So that's a thing.
We'll get some of that, I'm sure.
Right, yeah. So she cancels the adoption, and she talks to the psychic because she wants to know.
And so we're really supposed to watch this thinking that he is legit. And we're really supposed to watch this because it didn't even occur to me that this was a trick to get her on the plane.
Well, he had
because
her the tickets for Oceanic 815.
Yeah, but I took that as a coincidence because I had already internalized that this guy's a fake, so I didn't even consider he would actually know that the plane would crash.
It couldn't be a coincidence because she says, I can't just leave tomorrow, and he says, no, it has to be this flight. If it was really to set up with someone in LA, why couldn't it be a week from now or 2 weeks?
Yeah, but I didn't consider that because I was already thinking of him a fake, but like, yeah, it's nonsense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It's nonsense to reveal he's a fake. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, the story would honestly be, like I feel like I'm kind of robbed of appreciating this scene because of it.
Yeah. Then we get Charlie again.
That's
I know
not,
your favorite character.
Also, just gonna say, like, me being robbed of that, it's not really a chronologically lost problem. It's just a problem with that ridiculous retcon.
Yes. It's... I don't know how to explain this fucking dude.
But yeah, Charlie, he goes to meet his brother, and they're happy to see each other, but he's trying to recruit him to join the band again. Which, like, and Charlie's not clean.
No, he's not. And, his brother doesn't want to do this. And Charlie basically throws at him. He's like, hey, you got me hooked on drugs. It's your fault.
Which, okay. That's true that it's his fault. But also, he said, stay here. We have good rehab programs. And Charlie was like, fuck off, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
So, I don't feel like you can lash out at him when he's being like that. Because, the thing is, when they were rock stars, they looked like shit. Charlie still kind of looks like shit. And, his brother looks good.
Yeah, it's the glasses. It's really just the glasses that do it.
Yeah, it is, but also his hair is decent and Charlie's is a mess, and I just feel like Charlie is kind of I was going to say Charlie is kind of close-minded on this, because I don't think he needs his brother. I think it's ridiculous to expect him to get his brother. But he did say, the people booking them, they're only booking Drive Shaft if he can get his brother. But I still just feel like Charlie could have spent this time just writing new songs, starting a new band, or starting a solo career. I feel like he's fixating on needing his brother back to do anything when, he has more options.
That's true, but it's also...
he's also on heroin.
He's also on heroin, and he also still cares for his brother, and he believes that his brother owes him, basically, for everything that's happened still. So, there's that whole aspect. But then we move to the last scene of this episode, which is Shannon and Boone, and I remember after we saw their first storyline, you said, I'm getting some weird vibes here, and here we go.
Oh, man. See, look, Boone is at least understandable because look, I'm not going to disagree with him that Shannon is a very attractive girl here. And so, they aren't birth siblings, and they met when they were 10 and 8, which is, different than if you met when you were, 3. But it's, so, I get that he's attracted to her, he can't help it, but it's also, it's I get it, man. People be attractive, boys be horny, but it's still,
But this isn't even, what are you doing, step bro? This is, what are you doing, step sis? She's the one who initiates all of this.
She's... with Boone, I get it. He's this is not right. We can't do this. But ultimately, she's right that he's attracted to him. But she is coming in and initiating. Shannon is a troubled person where, again, it's sad because her life could have gone very differently.
Yes, it could have gone so differently.
Also, she's here because her boyfriend took the money. And it's I was saying, I understand that, you were screwed on your inheritance. So, you want some of the money you're owed. But it's still, it's also you try to scam people, then you end up getting scammed yourself. And also, yet again, I should have mentioned this before, but the Lost writers really love their scams and cons.
It makes for interesting plot lines, I guess. And, it's always a good, twist or reveal to be, someone was lying this whole time.
Drama.
Drama to the maximum. So...
yeah, well, that's the end of it, and, great episodes, honestly.
Yes.
A lot of, there were plot lines that I had not seen in ages and I wanted to see again, and I got them here and interesting stuff happened.
Yes, and we have one last episode left for backstories, because a lot is going to happen in this airport, getting onto this plane.
Oh, yeah. And I just gotta say, the thing that was missing from this episode, and the thing that definitely needs to be resolved, is what the hell is going to happen with Sun and Jin.
Right. So I actually don't think we have too much to talk about right now, because next time we are only going to be covering episode 25, September 22nd, 2004, part 1, because it is both the end of all the backstories, so we're going to have a lot to talk about there, and it is also, if you want to count the fan-made seasons for this, it is also the end of season 1 of Chronologically Lost, where season 1, there are 8 seasons, honestly. 8 seasons, and season 1 is a quarter of the entire series.
Yeah, I would have broken it up into 2 seasons just for some.
Yeah, I would have ended the first one at the 70s arc conclusion, and then
just for the sake of breaking it up.
But I won't say why, but I understand why they've broken it up how they did.
Yeah, I mean, it's arbitrary anyway. Who cares?
It's not arbitrary, but I won't tell you why.
No, but, well, I mean, whether or not we... Okay, if there really is a reason... Okay,
I
sure.
can't even tell you the reason until we get to the final season, so...
See, because I would have said, yeah, you could just make it so up to through the 70s arc with season 1 and then this is season 2. I guess, yeah, I can't imagine what the reason is, because that seems very arbitrary to me.
Yeah. So I hope you will join us again next time, where again we are covering episode 25 of Chronologically Lost, where we are going to have a lot to talk about wrapping up season 1, and I'm going to make you do a lot of predictions for season 2. So I hope you join us.
Oh boy.